Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
My wig looks so crooked, Greg. It's weird. Hey, welcome back. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Hump Day. That's right, folks. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as I always like to say, the fun is in the trying.
Yeah, I really make the best effort, Craig, to start the weekend today. But I found today's usually the most powerful, like Red Bull day. So trying to drive through the middle of the week.
It is like everything is pulling against the idea of just being able to chillax today.
Yes, absolutely. All these people with their "I give you money, I expect you to work for me" kind of nonsense. It's crazy.
I know. What's up with that? I mean, aren't you supposed to just give me money?
Listen, I don't mind the going into work thing. It's the having to stay there for 8 hours that bothers me.
Sure. I'll go in and leave.
Yeah. How you doing? Make the rounds, kiss babies, shake hands, do all that good stuff. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the benefits of working for yourself is according to independent contractor law, they really can't dictate the time and the place of where you work. They basically you're supposed to deliver a product. And it's good in that, once again, they can't make me go in or be somewhere at a specific time. But, I basically get to pick the 80 hours a week that I work.
Yeah, very, very true. And I found a lot of places, even so now after COVID's done, well, I mean, not that it really existed to begin with, right? But now that people are supposed to be going back to work, and some of them are not, and now companies are offering less money to these people to do the same job they did before, and I believe it's because the attitude of the bosses are, well, I'm not giving you a full salary if you're not going to sit here a full 40 hours a week. And I know you may only do 30 hours a week, but I pay you for the other 10 hours of misery. So if I don't get to view your misery, then I'm not giving you a full salary.
That very well may be the prospect. But I've just found, well, especially like a lot of the stuff I'm doing is video stuff. And what I find when I go into offices or go into work with my clients, I'm like, me and my laptop, just the little laptop, is not as good as me with my laptop and two large screens. Makes video editing a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm definitely a 2 to 3 monitor guy at work. Yeah.
All right. So I got a question for you. And you don't have an Apple Watch, but how many of you out there have an Apple Watch that like interrupts in your conversations? You're just sitting there having a good conversation, and then she just decides, well, gee, I don't know what I think about that.
No, I don't know. I got Swatch Watch.
Swatch Watch. Right. Got it. Well, anyway, you know what? Hey, one of the other things they've been talking about is how they're finding that fewer people. One of the reasons why people are pushing towards the idea of a 4-day work week is because they're finding that fewer and fewer people, in particular working at home, are actually working on Fridays.
Listen, I worked a 4-day work week for many years, and it was wonderful. The morale was better, more work got done. The problem is there's still other people out there working that 5th day, right? And the boss thinks that we're going to lose out because other people are working the 5th day and we're not. And I would tend to say that on a 10-hour workday rather than an 8-hour workday, you're probably doing the same amount of work as you did during 8 hours. It's so, it's just, but again, I think there's no way a boss is going to pay you the same amount of work for doing less days work. He wants you there for days, not for hours.
Well, and I found as I've gotten older, more what it's about is these are my expectations for what I want your output to be. And as long as I'm getting this, most of the folks that I've worked with in the past, they don't really sit there and watch the clock. They just want to make sure that you're getting done as much as they need you to get done for the job you're getting paid for.
Right, right. Which means I don't want you slacking off, sitting over there playing, TV, video games, and whatever else. And that's I think what a lot of people hate the people that work from home, the bosses. Hey, if I can't control your time, because when I need you, I need you. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Well,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and get into today's program. But before we do, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels, don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct to rebuild your current AR platform, or put a new barrel on there for your next build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. And now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out the California 6th congressional race while you're there. If you're you need some holsters, the best tactical holster, concealed holster on the market is Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com. Hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you're getting outdoors or even going indoors and want to get all tactical, you can get all the gear you need minus the gun at uscombatgear.com.
So now, what if you're not interested in being tactical, but you just want to be tactical? Can U.S. Combat Gear help you out there too?
Yeah, I'm sure they can. You just get extra more of it and just wear it all at the same time.
There you go. You can be tactical and tactical at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you just got to wear a lot more gear.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Folks, please remember, visit our sponsors and tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. All right. If you've been following the media lately, you know that there's been a whole lot of, well, how do I want to put it? Interesting people who have come out in support of Hamas. Some openly and knowingly, and some not so much. One particular group that I wanted to point to first, well, let's just say the U.S. government. In fact, the White House, according to a recent report by the Washington Free Beacon, noted that they do extensive work in order to avoid funding terror supporters, but State Department grants say otherwise. In fact, State Department gave $160,000 to a West Bank university that openly supports Hamas terrorists. It says here the State Department awarded Al-Quds University in the West Bank grants of $160,000 just last year, according to records obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The grants, which will fund programs for Palestinian entrepreneurs and disadvantaged students through 2024, are overseen by the State Department's Office of Palestinian Affairs. Yes, we have an Office of Palestinian Affairs. That office came under fire for calling on Israel to refrain from retaliatory attacks after the Hamas assault. Now, the interesting thing about this, Mike, and I think you and I are in agreement about this. People are coming at it and they're trying to say, "Well, no, don't retaliate, don't, let's have a ceasefire." But the reality is this is not about. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not about revenge. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it's not about retaliation, but it is about making sure that an actor who decided that they were going to inflict harm on over 1,400, not inflict harm, I'm sorry, harm on thousands of Israelis, but kill 1,400 of them, they need to be shut down.
Or I don't believe shut down is the proper word you're looking for, term you're looking for. I believe it's we need to kill them. Correct?
There you go.
We need to kill
I was
them.
trying to be diplomatic.
I was trying to be killing them. It's they've got to go. And listen, and we're funding them. We're funding. This is what you happen. These grants are going in, and people think nobody's ever going to take a look at what we did with a $100,000 grant. They don't care. I mean, they write in there. It's for to help Hamas entrepreneurs. Oh, great. Okay. You know what that means, Craig? That's like corner gun sales. That's like, I got a new rocket. You want some of it, buddy? These are entrepreneurs. That's what they're doing. They're making money. All right. That's what entrepreneur means. I'm going to find a way to make money. And guess how you do that? in Palestine, right? With the Palestinians. I mean, this trail is of money to Hamas is not hard to sniff out. You have our own federal government telling us that how much money they've given to the Iranians, and the Iranians all of a sudden have given a whole bunch of things to the Palestinians, and then rockets rain down upon Israel. This is not, I mean, the Scooby-Doo kids could have figured this one out yesterday.
Oh, most definitely. Well, then, here you've got even more. And by the way, the 160,000 is not the only one. It says here the latest example of State Department funding supporters of terrorist groups. Last month, the department awarded $100,000 to Al-Quds Open University, another West Bank school unaffiliated with Al-Quds University. Al-Quds Open University, which operates in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, canceled in-person classes in honor of the righteous martyrs who invaded Israel. The Free Beacon reported the department gave $119,000 in grants earlier this year to two Gaza-based charities that have worked with Hamas. American taxpayers have funded more than $400 million in projects in the Gaza Strip since Hamas took over the area in 2009. Now, Mike, one of the other things that I wanted to point out was, what it had to do with students in particular who are here in the United States. Now, not just students, but if you are a foreign national, a lot of people don't know this. If you are a foreign national and you express support for terrorism, you, by law, should be deported. And that is actually part of a letter that was sent by Senator Tom Cotton to the Department of Homeland Security. This is a letter that he wrote, and I'll read the specific section here. It says, federal law is clear that any alien, and I'm not talking about extraterrestrial, I'm talking about anyone who is here from another country, who endorses or espouses terrorist activity or persuades others to endorse or espouse terrorist activity or support a terrorist organization is inadmissible and must be deported, swiftly removing and permanently barring from future reentry any foreign student, I say any foreign actor, any foreigner, who signed, this is specifically talking about students, who signed onto or shared approvingly the anti-Semitic letter from the Harvard Palestine Solidarity Committee on October 7th would be a good place to start. Because pretty much that letter endorsed what happened. And by the way, blamed it on Israel. I gotta say, I gotta agree. I have to agree. If you are an avid open supporter of terrorists and you are here, a guest in our country, as far as I'm concerned, your guest status is revoked.
Yeah, there's. I'll try and think of a couple of more phrases just to try and pull some airtime here. But bye, Felicia. Just
there you go.
Bye-bye.
I can't think of a better saying. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, it's don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Give him some
there you go.
Southern
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, here's one that perplexes me. Now, you know that the three of the top leaders of the Proud Boys have already been tried. They were convicted and they were sentenced. And I think the shortest sentence of all three of them was like 15 years. I think there was a 15 years, a 17 years, and the longest term was that was given out was 22 years. But now the Justice Department is actually they are appealing the sentences. So if you check this out, hold on, let me move this over so you can actually see the whole thing. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. So Justice Department appeals sentences for Proud Boys all ready to serve decade plus over January 6th Capitol riot. In other words, now Mike, they recommended 33 years. And the head only got 22 years. It says here, the Justice Department on Monday appealed the sentences for 5 Proud Boy leaders, including leader Enrique Tarrio, who had been hit with the Civil War era charge of seditious conspiracy in connection to the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, arguing the prison times given are significantly shorter than what prosecutors asked for. U.S. District Judge Timothy Kelly sentenced Tarrio and the former Proud Boys national leader and 3 lieutenants to prison terms ranging from 15 to 22 years after the jury convicted them in May of plotting to stop the peaceful transfer of presidential power from Donald Trump to Joe Biden after the 2020 presidential election. So, what I'm trying to figure out here, Mike, is exactly why is it that they feel that this is justified? Why do they feel like that? I mean, sending someone to prison for 22 years who wasn't even there, why they feel like they need more time?
Yeah, and remember we're talking about Enrique Tarrio, the black white supremacist.
Yes, the black white supremacist.
Black white supremacist who was leader of the Proud Boys. Craig, we recently saw Donald Trump say that one of the things he would do when he comes back to office on the first or second day would be to take a look at all of these convictions and pardon those that were done, with hate in mind rather than with bipartisanship. So I think that might have something to do with it. He has already said you're crucifying our people. You're crucifying conservatives here for being conservatives, and I will correct that. So I think this might be the attorneys general, or excuse me, the U.S. attorney there, trying to show what team they're on. Oh, Donald Trump said that. Well, we'll do more to those people now.
I how do I want to put this? I'm finding it difficult when you look at why. First of all, why are none of the people, the leaders within, for example, organizations like Antifa or Black Lives Matter, not being tried for some of the things that they said and they did during the George Floyd riots? Right. They weren't even investigated, which is the sad part. But why weren't they brought up on charges? Why weren't their emails and their cell phones? Why weren't their records and all of that pulled up to see what level of coordination they were engaged in? What about the people who funded and paid for the bail for rioters, for people who were throwing Molotov cocktails and rocks and frozen water bottles at cops? People like Kamala Harris, why aren't they being investigated for their role in helping to fund terrorist actions?
Well, like I said, because this is partisan politics. This is what this is. This is one team trying to incredibly take down the other. Look at everything they've done to the number one candidate over the past couple of years, leading up to this election. From the harassment to the verbal threats to the impeachments to indictments. They're doing everything they can to this guy, to President Trump, to try and silence, his voice and the voice of the half of the country behind him.
Yep, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what they're looking to do. And the thing here's the funny part is you have independents who recognize and believe that what is going on with Donald Trump is politically motivated. Even a huge percentage of Democrats believe that it's politically motivated. The problem is those amongst the Democrats who believe that it's politically motivated don't care. Their attitude is whatever it takes to take out Donald Trump. And what I try to tell people is, it's not about whatever it takes to keep out Donald Trump. Understand that what you're saying is it's about whatever it takes to overthrow the will of the people and to interfere in elections, because that's exactly what they're doing. And what they're saying is they're okay with interfering in elections as long as the person that they don't like loses.
Right. You've got the evil manipulators out there that want you to vote their way and do what they want. And then you have the yellow dog Democrats that are going to vote Democrat. Like, Craig, if they turned their TV off a year ago and they don't turn it on until the day after the election, they're voting Democrat. It's just what they're going to do. Yellow dog Democrat means that if a yellow dog was running for office, they would vote for him.
There you go. Exactly. Okay, here's an interesting story here. Bait and switch in the Bay State. The Bay State being the state of Massachusetts. So what's funny is I'm watching folks talk about this. I'm watching the folks, Petroliano, Petrolino. There you go. John Petrolino over at Bearing Arms write about this.
Yeah.
The sad part is this is something that, sadly, I had come to expect here in California, and even he denotes he expects something like this to happen in his home state of New Jersey. He just didn't expect it to happen in Massachusetts. But this is where he notes the Bay State lawmakers pull a last-minute bait and switch with their Second Amendment crushing bill. Down here, this is an alert that was sent out. It says the impending House gun bill has a new number, H4135. In a twisted end run around the normal process, the House leadership pulled a fast one again. In order to avoid the normal bill process, the Speaker, who had House Ways and Means, add the current gun bill language to an existing budget bill, H4090, then Ways and Means, with no public vote record, conjured and released what amounts to a ghost bill, H4135, in order to get it to the House floor for a vote on Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. That's today. Keeping with their fast-paced sleight of hand, Houdini-like procedures, we understand the amendments to H4135 are due by 5 p.m. today. That was about an hour ago, or a little bit more than an hour ago, as before the show started. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was yesterday. That's the 17th. That means that no one will have time to ensure the language was not changed internally before being released. It also means that people will have no time to review the amendments prior to the bill hitting the floor. The bill simply cannot be fixed or exercised. And they do this all the time here in California. It's called the gut and amend. What they basically did in this case, though, was, Mike, they basically took the language, put it into a budget bill so that no one would pay attention to it as it moved through the process, right? Moved it along. Then they took a bill that was basically had nothing in it, or, what we call they called it a ghost bill. I forget what we call it in the California legislature. But anyway, it's like a placeholder. And they move it along just so that they have a vehicle in which to put language in later. So what they're doing is they got the language over, moved it over in this bill, and now here comes the ghost language. Here comes the ghost bill over here. Now that they're both on the other side here on the floor, they'll now take that language out of that bill and they'll put it into the other bill.
Yeah, Craig, bring the picture back up the main page again. Before I make the comments here. And John, I know John doesn't pick these pictures. John Petrolino doesn't pick these pictures when they pop up on the screen. There, we'll go up to the top. Okay, there we go. So we're going to make sure all these starter pistol crime in Massachusetts is ended, and all the stagecoach robberies is over too with these firearms that we've seized. So very, very, very nicely done. Very nicely done. This whole thing, Craig, is illegal in many states. You can't do this in a state that, I'm just saying it, in a red state. Red states have made sure that these opportunities don't exist in their House or in their Senate for procedural wise, because they know the tricks of the Democrats, and they know this is what they will do. They will run this void bill forward, or a ghost bill, whatever they want to call it, and change things at the last moment. And it's going to remain that way in California, and it's going to remain that way in Massachusetts, because Democrats are going to continue to control both houses in those states. And so rather than have a conservative side come along and say these procedures are not constitutional, we're not doing that. You can continue to get as John said in his report, you continue to get screwed in the middle of the night.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is that Republicans don't just, for Republicans, it's not just important to do the right thing, but how you do the right thing is also important, right? It's not just important to do
Yes.
what you believe will work, but it's important that how you do it works and is important. The process is important. And the idea behind this whole process is to have public discussion and public debate. And there are certain areas that are choke points that are specifically designed that if you can't get enough support for it, then maybe it shouldn't ought to be a law. Well, Republicans generally have tried to honor that and not circumvent that process. That's the reason why they've reinstated the committee process as soon as Republicans took over the House. You guys may not know this, but a lot of the committee processes under Democrats, under Nancy Pelosi, were gotten rid of because they didn't want the public to be able to have input on the stuff that they were pushing through. They didn't want public debate and public policy discussions or debate. They just knew they had the votes, so they just wanted to go to the floor and push it through. The only time in which there were committee hearings was largely because they were looking for a way in which to push talking points. And then they controlled the process and didn't allow for there to be actual debate. They just pushed for, they had their witnesses and only who they would allow. They wouldn't allow Republicans to be a part of that public discussion.
Yeah, any of the public, right? And that was the thing. They started to do it under Pelosi. All the committee meetings became closed door. So our government became secretive. About what they were doing.
Yeah, well, and that's what's crazy about it it's the reason why when I look at so many of these folks and I deal with some of these folks, it's like they act like they're surprised, and they're surprised because they don't have the information. And why don't they have the information? Because they've gone out of their way to make sure that the left has gone out of their way to make sure that they don't have access to that information.
Right. Correct.
All right, now let's move on to talk about Comrade Mickey. You are going to love this one. Fun stuff from some of our favorite folks, both China, TikTok, and guess who? Walt Disney. So it says here, Comrade Mickey, Disney Inc.'s big deal with China's TikTok. China-owned TikTok has landed a huge deal with Disney, which will serve as the publishing partner for the video platform's premium product. TikTok will reportedly offer Disney a place within the Chinese app where Disney fans can watch videos from Disney's brands, create their own with Disney music and special effects, play Disney-themed trivia games, and collect character cards of their favorite players, according to a report by TechCrunch. Walt Disney Company celebrated its 100th anniversary in part by declaring its decision to begin working with the Chinese app. The Chinese app said this new content hub is a first of its kind and suggested its deal with Disney goes beyond TikTok's Premiere Pulse program as it includes special accommodations for Disney. Now, Mike, and I think you and I are in agreement on this, we know that there's a lot of stuff, in particular woke stuff, that Disney is pushing here in the United States that probably isn't going to make it onto the Chinese app.
Well, it may not make it onto the Chinese app and be viewed in China, but China will do it, I think, for the money and still let us have it here. So it won't be Chinese viewable. It'll just be Chinese made and sent back here. Craig, you just mentioned Walt Disney here. Walt. The Disney celebration's 100 years old. I'm not sure how they come up with that number. It's because Steamboat Willie's 95 years old. It'll be 95 next month. That's like Orlando Disney trivia there. For I guess I live here too long, but it's Walt at this point would have burned Disney World to the ground if he saw what they were doing with it, rather than let them influence children the way they're trying to influence children. It was for them, meant to be the happiest place on earth for them and their families. And I guarantee you, he would have walked in with a flare and a gallon of gas and burnt everything to the ground rather than let it go like it is now. And now you have, what's the remnants of his company, out there, dealing with the Chinese and their oppression and allowing them to bring it forward again. Let's go to our enemies. Let's not only our morality, and our personal ethics, but our country has said we're not dealing with China. But evidently, it's okay for Walt Disney World to go there and do that.
Well, part of the challenge, the reason why they have to do this is because they realize they're losing ground in the American market. But the funny part is that the reason they're losing ground in the American market is the very reason is that the content and the things that they're pushing are the very things that China will not let them do and not let them talk about as they push their products and their message there in China.
Yeah, agreed. That's right. Exactly right. And it's, listen, they're trying to save that buck any way they can and make that money somewhere else. And how they came up with China as the answer. I mean, it's simple how they come up with China as the answer, right? They're going to pay somebody a nickel a day to do this work for them. And then again, the Chinese will never get to see it. They'll just play it elsewhere in the world.
There you go. All right, folks. Well, hey, that now brings us to Parting Shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholster.com, use discount code The Rundown, and get your Hog Holster today. All right, this first one, This first one, it's a video that I wanted to play. I wanted to play for you because it was fun. Because that people would honestly lose their minds if you saw any sort of advertisement talking about toy guns for kids. Well, this one was brought to us. Anyway, you're gonna love this. This is an old school toy gun commercials, and tell me if there's anything triggering you think might be triggering in this, Mike.
Tommy Burst has automatic bolt action. Fire off a burst of 10 shots. Pull the bolt again, you're reloaded. Or fire single shots like a rifle. The Tommy Burst alone is $3.
I come fully equipped with Mattel Snub Nose 38. Ready for action on a moment's notice. Practice target shooting whenever you can.
It's the Mattel Thunderburp with the real vibrasonic sound chamber that's loaded forever and ever. No batteries, no caps. That Thunderburp looks like real, sounds like real. It even vibrates like real. And for outdoor smoking action, add the Mattel Tommy Burp to your gun collection. It fires caps with smoking bursts or single shots.
The burp gun's so safe, it's got the parent seal of approval. That's the only fully automatic cap gun in the world, Real safe.
Your weapon, Secret Sam. Secret Sam has barrel extension. Secret Sam with periscope, message missile, rifle stock, barrel extension. Even shoots through this carrying case. It's 7 guns in one. Let's count them. 1 is a grenade launcher. 2 anti-armor gun. 3 anti-tank gun. 4 bullet-firing rifle. 5 Tommy gun. 6 anti-bunker gun. 7 cap-firing pistol. There's no other gun like it.
The Sound of Power military rifle and Western rifle by Marks. Just press the trigger and listen.
This sounds like a gun battle over there. Is it real? Looks like real. Hey, it sounds like real.
Now take your army gun in hand and load and fire. With Johnny Eagle, you command, you load and fire. With Johnny Eagle, lots of fun. You've never seen an army gun like John.
Okay, there were a couple of those, especially the kid with the Tommy gun, that I was like, wait a minute, is that Mike?
I like the one with the crank on it.
Yes.
The one with the crank would be the only one that I think the ATF would not outlaw right now. Because it's a manual firing of automatic. Everything else is a single pull of the trigger finger.
There's no trigger, so how can it be an automatic weapon?
That's right. Yep. Cool stuff.
Anyway, that leads me to this one right here.
Oh, that smell.
Once you get a hold of that smell, there's no getting beyond it. It's like, okay, this little kid. So by the way, this little kid who's got, for those of you who are just listening to the program, it's a little kid with some shotgun shells and he's smelling the gunpowder.
Yep.
And just in case we haven't indoctrinated them enough or haven't got them enough, we now have freedom fries. Does that look interesting to you, Mike? Does that make you want some McDonald's?
Yeah, I'm not going to drop them in the fryer though. I don't think that.
Yeah, I would not. I definitely would not drop those those rounds in the fryer.
Yep.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's about it for today. But before we go, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
HitmanIndustries.net, HitmanIndustries.net. You can get rifle and pistol length, caliber, barrels, anything you need there for your next AR rifle or pistol build. That's HitmanIndustries.net. Glock barrels now are available. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out the California 6th Congressional race while you're there. And if you want some tactical gear, you're going outdoors, you're going hunting, you're going hiking, or you're just going to do some indoor training, you can get everything but the good at uscombatgear.com.
All right, folks, please take a moment, visit our sponsors, and make sure you tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. We'll see you then.